Good evening. So I guess I I went and saw Dr. Winterling at the end of February of this year, and she was new to me because my previous gynecologist had their office. She had retired, and their office closed. And one of the things we talked about when I went to see her, I was at the time 45. I just turned 46 now, and I said, I'm the heaviest I've been in my entire life, and I'm working out like 90 minutes a day. But in the past year that I've been working out all of this time, I've lost maybe 5 pounds total. And I can see that like I had gotten, a little more muscular and that my clothes weren't maybe as tight, but the pounds just weren't coming off at all. And she suggested that she gave me Kristen's name and suggested I talk to a nutritionist, mainly because, you know, age, health history, and all these other things just might contribute to the fact that losing weight isn't just as easy as just exercising like when we were younger. And it took me a couple months to work up the nerve really to do it, because I told Kristen, when we first met, like I tried diets in the past, and I probably never lasted longer than like 3 or 4 days on any diet, because I'm awful at self-control. And if I go out to eat, I always pick whatever it is that I'm interested in eating at the time without thinking necessarily of calories or sugar or whatever. And so and throughout COVID, being home, all I've done is like graze and snack and eat throughout the day. So it was just setting up where I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do something where I could maintain something. So the first time I met Kristen, I basically said, I don't want to diet. I don't want to count calories. I don't want to count macros. I don't want to do anything that's hard. And I still want to be able to eat everything I'm eating. So what do I do? And so we basically went over the things that I was eating and how I was eating. And she, like that first session, I still remember, she's like, okay, well, for breakfast, you have 2 slices of toast with your eggs. Eat 1 slice, like some of these little basic little changes. And I'm like, okay, I can do the things that she wanted me to do. Eat 1 slice of toast, eat a little more veggies with my lunch and my dinner. So I started to do that. And that was at the beginning of June, really, when we did that. And every couple weeks we would meet, and she would just add 1 or 2 little things to it. And, within the first, I would say 2 months or so, I'd lost a few pounds, but I also realized it wasn't really the weight, because it wasn't exactly like I was just on Biggest Loser or something and losing fat, like, and weight, like crazy. But I realized that a lot of the things that I didn't really, I guess, realize was attributed to my diet per se, were better. One of the things was I have indigestion like almost every night, because I take a lot of pills, because I had my thyroid removed years ago. I don't, my body doesn't take calcium, like it doesn't produce calcium. So I take a lot of calcium supplements, and that's always made me feel kind of nauseous and ill. And so every night when I take it, I always felt a lot of indigestion. And I just assumed it was because of the pills. But once I started to, add some more veggies, be a little more conscious of the portions of what I'm eating, and just be a little more mindful of it, I don't suffer from the indigestion like I did before, which was a constant thing. And it really hit home when I went on vacation and I kind of went back to my old ways of eating, how ill I felt after dinner every night. And I'm like, maybe there's something to be said about what Kristen's doing and what she had. So I came home, I went back to that, and I'm like, oh yeah, I feel a lot better. And the other thing I noticed was also, like, every afternoon, typically when I'm working, I just feel exhausted around 2 or 3 and think, oh, I need a caffeine fix or something like that. And those were like the sugar highs and lows that I would go through, because I would be eating more sugar than I should have. I had candy at my desk because it was very easy to have since I'm home, and I would have like some chocolate in the afternoons and things like that. So once I stopped doing that, I didn't start feeling that high and low, every day in the afternoons as well. So I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm noticing some of these positive changes with that. And then, you know, as we progress, so now we're about 3 months in. 3 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago, we met, and she said, okay, well, let's still keep trying to, you know, help stabilize your sugar intake. I cut out a lot. I also realized I stopped craving cake, which was always a constant craving I had. It was just something I always wanted. I didn't really crave salty anymore. It was just, I still always wanted a slice of cake or a baked item. And those were things that I didn't feel that I was constantly wanting anymore. Like my body wasn't craving it. It wasn't telling me that I really could have something like that. So she kind of outlined doing an intermittent fast. And so I started that, like I said, 2.5 weeks ago. And because of how she outlined it for me, it actually was a lot easier than I thought it would be. And so I've been doing that. And I have to say that's probably where, so far, I mentioned to her when we met last week, I've seen the most gains in terms of weight loss. Because I think in about 2 weeks plus, and that's with me also cheating on weekends because I was going out to eat and stuff. I've been down about 5 pounds since we started doing that. But I also just have cut out snacking from it, which was something I didn't realize until I finished like the first week, that I didn't have a snack at all in the afternoons. You know, my family, like my kids come home and I can hear all the snack bags crinkling and stuff. And I used to just go down there and join them, and I'm having my own snacks as I'm chatting with them. And I haven't done that, right? So my meals have been a lot more consistent in terms of the times I eat, the amount I eat. I'm typically not, you know, starving, other than maybe in the mornings when I first do my workout. But I'll also admit to Kristin, like my workouts actually have been slacking quite a bit in the past few months. But because I think my diet has still been overall pretty on point, I still feel good. I don't feel that blah sense that I would used to get if I wasn't working out and not eating, you know, or eating the way I used to eat, I would say. So I really was very doubtful and skeptical. I admit that when I first started, and even after the first few sessions so that we talked, you know, because I'm like, oh, I'm making these simple little changes. How's this really going to work? How am I really going to reach my goals of, you know, losing weight and feeling better, and just overall having, I guess, a more healthy feel, I guess, about myself in terms of my body. But I have to say that, you know, every session, as she added a little bit here and there, it wasn't difficult, which is, I think, what made me stick with it. Whereas in the past, like I said, I never stuck with anything because I either forgot to prep, I just gave up or whatever. But now I've had plenty of times where I've slipped, but I've just kind of moved on, and then the next day reset and started it again. And for the most part, this has been probably the most easy, I would say, step I've taken in terms of eating healthy. And you know, probably because I have Kristin to tell me basically what to do and how to do it, versus just reading something on, you know, on what to do and then not really having that accountability. I probably am one of those folks that do much better when I have accountability for that.